Happy belated St. Patrick's Day. I like to try to make videos on topics that have little or nothing to do with any other video that's been made, but it's hard, right? But I just now, sitting here, thought up a topic. And that would be, okay, so narcissists have to stay relevant. They have to be significant, integral, up on the modern trends. So something I noticed in a lot of family members, I won't name any more specific than that, but I just noticed that they had to be up on the cool lingo. The lingo of, mind you, high schoolers and middle schoolers. Any new vernacular, any new terminology would have to try to find out that new word within the first week or two that word broke, so they could be on that cutting edge of using the brand new term. Something else that's kind of relevant is being up on all the current bands. So like, I would notice with narcissistic family members, when they would interact with their children's friends, they always knew so much more about that area of interest of that age group. What bands were popular, what TV shows were popular, even bigger, what hobbies and trends were popular unrelated to music and things like that. So they had to get that brand new vernacular. They had to stay current on who the brand new little teeny boppers are that are making, heart throb type music for the little 12 to 16-year-old girls. And it always kind of struck me as weird and not really understanding why is that so important to them. And when you just observe and you see how they use it with the younger generation, and you see how it really impresses the younger generation, that, it's like, it kind of is analogous to me of when I worked down in South Central. It was 85% Hispanic. And the Hispanics that don't speak a lick of English, when they see me making an effort to speak English, speak Spanish, no matter how good or bad it was, they really found it endearing and ingratiating and really appreciated the effort. And I think it's kind of similar with these little 12 to 16-year-olds. They think, no one knows about these little new words that they're using. And when they hear someone in their late 40s, early 50s use this word properly in a sentence, they're actually really impressed and actually find that very endearing and kind of appreciate the effort, much as those Hispanics did when they would see me trying to speak Spanish. They find it kind of cute and endearing. So bam, there's your reason why. It's getting these kids to like them and to think that they're cooler than all the other parents that are close to them in age. Narcissists, it's a very, very strange, unique population. But at the same time, if you just observe, like as a scientist, they're actually really very interesting. And so when you just take yourself out of it and how they might be trying to use you as a tool, and that can cause hurt feelings and things like that, when you take yourself out of that kind of a scenario and more so just observe them as a scientist from a distance, like a fly on the wall, they're extremely interesting, but at the same time, extremely predictable, because they all have the same kind of like shortcomings. You know, their insecurities, their competitiveness, their extreme vulnerability. You know, they can't have anything contradicting that extremely high opinion of themselves, which is like a house that's built on sand. It has no firm foundation beneath it. You know, so they can have this extremely high opinion of themselves, but then if anyone says anything that contradicts that, they immediately become undone. Because, you know, that beautiful house is a facade. And on the inside doesn't look as nice as it does on the outside. And it's not a house that's built on a firm foundation. And so it's a house that looks beautiful on the inside, looks crummy on the inside, looks great on the outside, and with a strong wind, much less a storm, can be rolling down the hillside. That's that drama that we see over and over and over again. You know, it's that vulnerability. Very, very interesting. You know, I do have a psychological background, so I've always been interested in human behavior. But when human behavior is so like a cookie cutter and so similar, it's extremely intriguing. So if you have to go to a family party and you have narcissists, you can choose to put on the goatee of Sigmund Freud, right? And just wear that goatee to the party and just be that psychologist, psychoanalysis, just observing and finding the comedy in some of their behaviors and the similarities and just the extreme interest in human behavior and the extremes of human behavior, because narcissism is definitely on one of these ends, you know. In psychology, you have the bell-shaped curve, you know, and like, you know, within one standard deviation of the mean's right in the middle, and you got one standard deviation on each side. And that contains something like 68% of the population. It's been a few years since I've been in the business. But, you know, and then the second two standard deviations, it's like 75 or 78%. And the last standard deviations, it's very, very small amount. Single-digit percentages, you know. And so the vast majority of people fall within that first standard deviation. So narcissistic behavior is so interesting to observe because it's down at the very, very, you know, 3%, 2%, 1% populations at both ends. Very, very unusual. Not so much anymore in 2024, but very, very, if you got a background in psychology or you find human behavior interesting, psychologists are very, very interesting. And if you're forced to go into these situations where you have to deal with them, it's best to go with Sigmund Freud's, you know, where you just kind of sit back and stroke your beard and just kind of go, how interesting, how bizarrely interesting. Have a good day. Leave Leave a comment, hit like. Talk to you later.